but they had on John McAfee. You may recognize the name from the guy who has the cybersecurity built into your computers when you buy them. And John McAfee looked at the report that was made public, and he had some very strong opinions as to why he didn't believe that Russia hacked the election. Take a listen to this.
I'm going to be very frank with you and the American public. I think that today, the most deceptive propaganda to date was perpetrated on the American public. The data that was presented, the evidence was called from a thing called the Grizzly Step Report, put together jointly by Homeland Security and the FBI. In there are 4 facts which they claim prove that Russia did this hack. It was utter nonsense. The information was, number 1, Russian language was found in the malware. Number 2, a Cyrillic keyboard was used. By the way, the forensic science can now tell what type of keyboard was used to develop a piece of malware. Number 3, the compiler, that is the piece of software that compiles the code so that it can execute, always dates and timestamps. It said that the timestamps were in a time zone for the business hours of Moscow and St. Petersburg and other places in Russia. And then number 4, that the IP address pointed to a Russian address. Now, let me go through this and try to make it very simple for the American people. If the CIA wanted to hack Russia, the things you would not do is you would not include the English language in your software, because that would then exclude everybody except English-speaking nations. You would certainly not use a keyboard that everybody knows that the CIA uses, whatever keyboard they use. You'd have them use a Chinese keyboard or something else. You would certainly remove the date and timestamp from the program so that you couldn't tell what business hours or what zone you were in when it was compiled. And number 4, you would absolutely not have an IP address that points to you. Because, seriously, if Russia declared war on us because we hacked Russia, and the head of the CIA or the intelligence committees came to Congress and they said, well, what happened? Oh, well, we didn't have time to remove the English language. We didn't have time to remove the date stamp. We didn't have time. The guy couldn't use the Chinese keyboard, so we gave him our regular keyboard. And, it was my wife's birthday, so I could not remove the IP address. Please. Yeah. That person would be scheduled for suicide.
He went on to say that the malware that was used, and listen, I'm a tech dunce, okay? Certain things I know, certain things I don't know. I don't know about malware, and I don't know about cybersecurity. I'm your average Joe when it comes to this. I make sure that my computer gets updated every day and make sure it doesn't, I can still use it. The man who almost basically invented cybersecurity is saying that not only would this not look like a Russian hack, it looks more like some quote-unquote kid in the basement who was using a malware that had been updated and is a year and a half out of date. Now, listen, like I said, I'm not the biggest tech guru. I am definitely not the most savvy, nerd alert guy. I'm not on the Geek Squad. But I would think that when a cybersecurity founder and basically the man who invented the science, at least to my knowledge anyway, like I said, I'm not up on this tech stuff, but a name that even I know says that this wasn't the Russians and here's the legitimate reasons why, and presents it out the way he did, and says that, I tend to go along with him. It may or may not have been the Russians. It may have been some kid in a basement. But all this is, to me at least, colored bubbles. Because the fact of the matter is, there was dirty laundry to be found. There were secrets that that the Democrats didn't want us to know about. There were secrets there to be found by whoever was lurking in the darkness of cyberspace. Isn't that what we should be focusing on? Shouldn't we be focusing on not... yes, the cyber attack is a problem, and that needs to be dealt with by the Trump administration. But politically speaking, using that as a scapegoat for why you lost, Come on already with this nonsense. Own up to it. It's your loss, Democrats. And my Brooklyn's coming out because you see I'm getting a little upset. Enough already. You lost. If you don't like it, get better. We've been saying that throughout the whole show. And that'll just about do it for this week's show. I want to thank David Keene for coming on the show. David has always been a friend to Behind Enemy Lines Radio, and it's always a pleasure to talk to him no matter what he's doing, whatever the topic is. It's always great to have him on. I want to thank you guys for listening. Check us out, as always, at www.behindenemylinesradio.us. And I especially want to thank our audience, that means you people, for coming to the website all the time, especially last month, for our now record-breaking Buffoon of the Year competition. The results are in. The ballots have been counted. We have confirmed that Russia has not hacked the vote. The winner of the 2016 Buffoon of the Year is Anthony Weiner. Carlos Danger, whatever you want to call him, he won. Finally, it's the third time around for him in our contest. He finally won the vote for his philandering and his all the yucky, icky stuff that he does. This time, right before the election, we're finding out that there were emails that were missing from Emailgate on his personal computer. And we found this out because he did it again. He was sending out these photos to, this time, an underage girl. Oh, boy. Hell of a way to win, Anthony. Good job. He beat out Donna Brazil, who, as we all know, was part of the hack, and we found out that she was passing along debate questions to the Clinton campaign from her position in CNN. But that's not the issue. The issue is she was hacked, and we shouldn't believe WikiLeaks and all that. You know, that's the real issue. Yeah, right. Whatever. So congratulations, Anthony. Before the Year comes back next year. It is a staple of the show. And we thank all of our listeners for participating. Over 1,000 people just looked at that on our website, www.behindenemylinesradio.us. And we thank you for checking it out. And we hope you continue to check out our site as much as possible. Time for a very quick final thought. Tonight, my thoughts and prayers are with the family of a friend of mine that I've met as part of doing this show. My friend Richard Fair, who was a budding radio show host, was just about to land a show in Chicago for himself, and unfortunately news came to us this week that Richard had passed away in a fire in his apartment. So our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family and his friends. God bless, sir, and we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you a lot. That'll just about do it for this week's show, folks. From the People's Republic of New York, this is Behind Enemy Lines Radio. It's time to shut this sucker down. We are out of here. Good night, folks. Our position has been compromised. It's time to roll out. Report for debriefing at www.behindenemylinesradio.us and look for regular communications via Facebook and Twitter at BEL_radio. You are the resistance. Behind Enemy Lines. A rock radio production. Copyright 2016. Back in 7 days. Out.